Hi. Sometimes history can give you insight into what's coming in the market. Like which part of history? Well, the French King Louis XV was once told that his profligate spendings and borrowing would ruin the state. So what? He said. Après moi, la déluge, which is French for I don't give a fuddle. Now, why do I think this can give you insight into the market? Because, based on my best US informers, this is what's happening in the US now. Why is it similar? Because of the war between the US Federal Reserve Board and the US Treasury. The head of the Fed, Jay Powell, keeps trying to knock the market down to lower inflation to help Main Street. However, at the same time, Auntie Yellen, Secretary of the Treasury, is doing her utmost to push the market up to help her political friends with potentially horrible future consequences to the US economy. In other words, Jay Powell is being a Boy Scout, while Auntie Yellen is being a partisan political operator. Now, what exactly does she do? See, she is pushing the US debt ever higher as she prints T-bonds at a horrific rate of $300 to $400 billion a month. You heard me correctly. 3 to 400 billions of T-bonds every month. That's a rate of more than $4 trillion a year. Now, these bonds must one day be paid off, and so may throw the US into a depression-like recession. And this is not just my view. Fitch, the credit rating service, has just lowered the US credit rating from AAA to AA+ due to Auntie Yellen's reckless debt printing. It also caused US rates to inch up, which forced Japan to print money too, bigly, as Trump would have said. Other countries too may join in the printing. Now, what's the result of all this forced money production? I mean, from your point of view as an investor, is this. There's a huge avalanche of money coming into the market every day, not via the Fed, as most mistakenly believe, but via the US Treasury, which is now the enemy of the Fed. So you may now say, so what the comparison to Louis XV? Because just as the French king's spending and debt taking ruined the state for his son, Louis XVI, who lost his head in the French Revolution, so Janet Yellen's reckless money printing action is likely the cause of a huge upheaval in a year or so when her bonds must be rolled over at higher rates. What's Helen's answer to this accusation of screwing up the US to help her party? Well, she has no answer, or rather, it's as if she had said, I don't give a fuddle what comes after me, just like the Louis XV. So again, how can the above analogy help you make money or at least defend the money you have? Let's take it in two parts. Part one, the avalanche of Yellen dollars nearly guarantees that the market will zoom, perhaps more than anyone thinks. Yes, right now everyone is bullish, but the market can take it off by tanking temporarily just to wash out the latecomers' bullishness spike. But after the coming minor washout, Yellen's huge pile of on-rushing cash would likely slosh right into the market and push it up and up. I'm just saying likely, I'm not saying for sure. But how high can the market go? Again, I have no exact idea, but if this market looks anything like the late 90s, which to me it does, then the S&P 500 can easily surpass its all-time high of 4,800, which is about like 300 points away, and then take on this 20-25% more when OPM money suffers from FOMO. That is, those who run other people's money, who are ranked every quarter, suffer from fear of missing out that can lead to the firing. But what then? So here is the second part of the scenario. Nearly all my US informers agree that the end of 2024 will likely bring an unprecedented social upheaval. Who are these informers? Some are gray-haired oldsters on Wall Street, whom I know. Others are middle-aged from Washington, D.C., some Republicans, others Democrats, both in business and in politics. All agree it's likely the 2024 elections will either be fiercely disputed or even delayed due to riot worse than January 6 and the BLM riots put together. But why riots? Because, as one of my more astute informers said, those in power now can neither afford a Republican Trump nor can they afford a Democrat Bobby Kennedy, who more and more looks like a Trump on the left that threatens to take over the Democratic Party, just like Trump took over the GOP. Both Trump and Kennedy want to cater to the little people, not the big ones in power. My contacts paint the following two likely scenarios. Scenario one, the Democratic big shots aim to put Michelle Obama at the head of the ticket. Yes, I am told she is still resisting, but may soon cave in, with Gavin Newsom, Nancy Pelosi's nephew, who is now California governor, as her running mate. In other words, the big Democratic Party bigwigs are trying to freeze out Bobby Kennedy from representing their party. Can they succeed? Not very likely, I am told, but even if they do, so say my contacts, hold on to your hats. Bobby Kennedy may join Trump as his VP candidate. Yes, you heard it right, a Trump-Kennedy ticket. Donald Trump already said he may choose a Democrat as his running mate, and meantime has said not a bad word about Bobby Kennedy, while Kennedy said only nice words about Trump. How do you like this scenario? Well, the current administration hates it, as do all those it benefits via its ruling. None of them can afford this scenario, either a Trump versus Michelle context or Trump plus Kennedy versus whomever. Because of that, my informers say, it's highly likely that by middle 2024, as the election comes near, the US may be subject to rising riots as the regime throws 5 kitchen sinks into it. These riots, says my informers, could peak at the election or perhaps not even then, may last to Christmas. Even now, such riots are kind of being prepared, one of them said cryptically. Other informers of mine are not as sure, but they all concur that this is possible. So what's the connection of this scenario to the stock market and your investing? Well, remember the stock market is a discounting machine that usually anticipates events almost miraculously 6 to 9 months in advance. So if the above scenario is correct, and remember, it's a big if, then sometime at the end of this year, 2023, or at the latest at Q1 24, the S&P, by then probably nudging 6,000, will sniff the coming upheaval and peak and tumble, and tumble and tumble. Because by then, all cash on the sidelines will already be in stocks, and the current bearishness will have become euphoria. Perfect conditions for a market peak, right? So what's the bottom line? For all of you who have listened to my video clip on October last year, telling you not to be lemmings and avoid selling, you must be counting your profits. Well, keep counting them and hold on to your well-sleuthed stocks. Like which ones? Well, take a look at my latest book, The Advanced Sleuth Investor, and see Appendix 1. For 15 stocks, it said are worth sleuthing. Since the book was published in October 2022, these 15 sleuth-worthies are up 36%, while the S&P is up only 25%, and Warren Buffett's company, Berkshire Hathaway, is up only 32%. And as an ongoing avalanche of Auntie Yellen dollars continues, both the market and these sleuth-worthy stocks are likely to zoom higher. I only say likely, not more than that. But until when? Until the fear and greed indicator zooms well over 90, as it has done in November, December 2019, just before the COVID crash. In fact, I betcha that by that time, you may think it foolish to sell, just as you probably thought it was foolish not to sell in October last year, right? Then, the old saying of the King of France would likely fit the situation perfectly, as it is very apt fit for Auntie Yellen's action too. She's spending and borrowing without caring for the results. What should you do? I suggest you consider riding a dollar flood until euphoria hits. When it does, the market dollar avalanche will likely become a waterfall crash. So is this my forecast? No, not a forecast, just a scenario, a likely scenario. And it could, of course, be wrong. On the other hand, maybe it wouldn't be. That's all for now. Please let me know below what you think of the above. Give it a like, and subscribe to the channel and retweet, and tell all your friends and followers who they subscribe to. Then buy my book, The Advanced Sleuth Investor, and look at the appendix for the list of sleuth-worthy stocks and see how they have done since. And yes, please write a review of my book for Amazon, which I hope will be a good one. I'll see you next time, and meantime, thank you very much for watching.